President Biden still adamantly denying having any knowledge of Hunter's business dealings. Watch. And the president facing more backlash with the latest IRS whistleblower claims. The front page of the New York Post today highlights a push by the GOP to call witnesses who may say Attorney General Merrick Garland lied under oath about the Justice Department not interfering in the Hunter Biden investigation. So was there a DOJ cover-up, and is it ongoing? With me now to discuss this is New York Post columnist Miranda Devine, who's uncovered so much about this story over the past couple of years. Miranda, great to see you. Thanks for being here. Now, Watergate. I'm old enough to remember Watergate. I was a young man when Watergate emerged, but the scandal led to Richard Nixon's resignation, and even worse than the scandal itself was the cover-up. It seems to be that's what's happening now with the Biden scandal, no?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the original story of corruption surrounding Joe Biden and his family's influence peddling scheme is bad, and it has implications for our national security. But I think the even bigger story has become the enormous cover-up by the federal government, whether it be the highest echelons of the FBI, CIA, both former CIA directors, 5 of them at last count, who signed that dishonest Dirty 51 letter saying that the laptop and its contents were Russian disinformation, and including at least one CIA employee that we're now told from testimony from one of the former CIA directors it was soliciting signatures from some of those 51 intelligence officials. So that's a serving CIA employee. And now we hear from Gary Shapley, the IRS whistleblower, that there was active DOJ involvement in suppressing, slow-walking, obstructing that 5-year investigation into Hunter Biden that was going on in Delaware. And someone certainly is lying, because you've got all these conflicting reports coming out of whether David Weiss asked Merrick Garland or asked the DOJ to be made a special counsel and was knocked back, or did David Weiss tell the 6 witnesses that and it wasn't true?
And by the way, just for those who don't know, the AG, Attorney General Garland, said specifically under oath, and I'm quoting him now, that Weiss could prosecute Hunter any way he wanted to and in any district he wanted to. And if those 6 witnesses say that is exactly not the case, that it was exactly the opposite, that Weiss was told he couldn't prosecute in different districts, doesn't that mean that AG Garland lied under oath?
Well, look, we don't know what David Weiss told, or what AG Garland knew about David Weiss's predicament there in Delaware without seemingly having the authority to do what Merrick Garland told the American people he did have authority to do. Clearly, he was obstructed or refused the ability to charge Hunter Biden in the 2 jurisdictions where those tax charges had to be brought, because that's where Hunter lived, whether Washington, D.C. for the early part, or he was in Malibu and Venice Beach, so that was the Central District of California. And the U.S. attorneys in those jurisdictions are both Biden appointed, and they refused to allow charges. That's what Gary Shapley, the IRS whistleblower, says. And he has memorialized conversations. He has witnesses. He has another one of those IRS whistleblowers, part of his team, has come forward, who's anonymous so far. He has transcripts of interviews. I mean, his testimony that was released on Friday is not just him talking. He brought receipts. He has documents. There are about 6 exhibits that are part of that testimony. They are devastating. Yes, they are indeed very hard to climb out from under.
Well, particularly that WhatsApp message in which Hunter Biden claimed to be sitting across at the same time with his father, with Joe Biden, essentially shaking down this Chinese businessman / government official. and saying if you don't send the money right away, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. I'm paraphrasing him. But then, lo and behold, within a week, $5 million went from the Chinese energy company to Hunter Biden, right?
Absolutely, and that is all verifiable evidence. The WhatsApp message was not on the laptop, but it was found or subpoenaed by the IRS criminal investigators from Hunter Biden's iCloud. They subpoenaed his iCloud from Apple, and they got a lot of information, including that WhatsApp message. Some of it appears on the laptop, some of it doesn't. Yeah. That's very hard. You can't say that's Russian disinformation.
No. Finally, I just have to bring this up. You have this absurd call by people in the media who were supporting the Bidens, suggesting that Hunter Biden is the victim in all this, despite the fact he had 5 years to accomplish all of this influence peddling, making millions of dollars for himself and his family. Here's the media trying to turn not only Hunter, but also Joe Biden into the victims. Roll tape.
The Hunter Biden story, the scandal, the this, the that, it's also the story of a father's love. And Joe Biden has never and will never give up on his son Hunter, and will never treat him lesser than. And so he is a father first. Take it or leave it. That's who he is. That is part of his heart.
You think that take flies in any way, Miranda?
Well, look, Nicholas Kristof in the New York Times ran the same line. He got completely ratioed. This is Joe Biden's secret sauce. It is what he has used to protect him from any allegations about corruption throughout his 5 decades, because he always falls on America's empathy. And Americans are very generous and very sympathetic souls. And Joe Biden has indeed suffered great tragedy in his life, but he uses that tragedy to protect himself. And I think come time to say, no, you can't do that anymore.
Well, particularly when you have all of this evidence mounting up and evidence that there may be a cover-up as well. It's quite a story. Miranda, thank you for the work you do. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.